On this channel, we regularly talk about the need for everybody to make the transition to cleaner, greener, safer and smarter vehicles, as well as making an energy transition in the way that they heat and power their homes. And we've talked about all kinds of different solutions, but for the most part, all of the electric vehicles that we see hitting the headlines on a daily basis are large, they're expensive, they're over-engineered very often, and they have massive battery packs required in order to give them a reasonable, practical, everyday range in order to be able to rapid charge quickly. But there are a few companies that are breaking that rule book. One of them, Aptera, has been working on optimizing personal mobility for many years. In the last year or so, Aptera has been making a rapid acceleration towards production readiness. And I'm here today in Carlsbad, California, where Aptera's production facility is getting ready to start producing those vehicles. First though, Aptera has to get that production intent vehicle ready for the production line. That vehicle is already in development. We don't get to see that yet. We'll see that maybe by the end of the year. But what we have got to see for the very first time today is Gamma, the penultimate step on that journey to production. And so I'm here today back at Aptera with Chris Antony, co-founder and CEO of Aptera Motors. And we're here with Gamma, which has literally just been revealed for the very first time to a very select audience. And we were lucky enough to be on the invite list. Chris, it is great to be back at Aptera. What a phenomenal progress you've made to the original vision and design of Aptera. This looks like something that you might actually be able to buy and drive on a daily basis. Tell me about the journey from the last time we were here when we saw the beta prototype to Gamma, and what's next?
It's great to have you here. I'm so happy that you guys were able to make the trip down. It's so exciting to finally show this vehicle to people, and it's really the culmination of everything we've been doing the last 3.5 years to refine the design, to make the drivetrain more efficient, to make the battery pack lighter weight, to make all of our components lighter weight. Since last you were here and you saw the beta development, we've really gone through multiple iterations of validating our aerodynamic profile, of light weighting our parts, of going through interior ergonomic studies, working with our supply chain to production content this vehicle. And it really is an amazing step forward over the last 6 months or so since you've been here. The cool thing about this vehicle is basically when you were here last, we were finishing this design, but then you have to release all those parts to actually get those parts built. So the last 6 months has been us working on putting this vehicle together. That's for the Gamma release. The next release is our Delta release. So our Delta release is our pre-production vehicle. It has all of our production contented parts, and it will be ready for the world in 2023. So, I can tell you that this has gone through thousands of iterations with artificial intelligence, computational fluid dynamics, to refine the wheel pans, to refine the nose, to refine the body structure. We actually made the body structure 1% bigger. So we have more interior volume, we have more space for battery packs, and it's just a much more comfortable vehicle to drive. But in the enlarging of the vehicle, we actually lowered the aerodynamic drag profile. And we did a couple things, and the computer told us to do these things. Aerodynamic simulation, especially with artificial intelligence, can be a cruel mistress sometimes. You make assumptions on how aerodynamics is going to work, and then the computer slaps you and says, no, that is not how it works. And we did that many, many times. But the vehicle actually got longer by 4 inches, which is really cool because we added some cargo space in the rear. The wheel pants changed shape pretty dramatically because there's a high pressure area in the vehicle. As it's traveling forward, air gets compressed between the body and the wheel pants. So that's a very crucial area to our aerodynamics. The nose actually got lower and more pointy. And overall, we were able to lower the aerodynamic profile by just using iterative computational fluid dynamics and having artificial intelligence say, push this surface this way, push this surface that way. And it's been just amazing to see the results, which are still, I hope to you, very beautiful, but even more optimized than last time you saw it.
Yeah, disclaimer, I am a reservation holder for one of these because I wanted to support a company that was working towards an efficient vehicle, but also one that supported a cottage industry of parts makers, of repairers that would keep this vehicle on the road. Because one of the challenges to traditional OEM manufacturing and even to some startups is that we end up with really expensive parts, very highly trained staff, and no way of allowing people who have the competency to work on their vehicles to work on their vehicles. And that's something that Aptera has been very clear about from day one. You want to actually grow a community around this vehicle.
Yeah, we're humbled to have your reservation, and we hope to build your beautiful Aptera very soon. But we really have a different mentality than I think a lot of other EV companies and automotive companies or vehicles in the transportation in general, the industry does. We want people to keep these vehicles on the road as long as possible. We want this to be a generational vehicle. The great thing about having a composite vehicle is it'll never rust away. So we would like for you to be able to upgrade this vehicle over time. We'd like for you to be able to replace the infotainment computer over time when we get 6G or 10G or whatever the next technology is. We want you to be able to upgrade the battery pack over time. All the solar panels are removable, so in 10 years, if solar panels are over 30% efficient, great, I can get an upgrade to my Aptera and keep these vehicles on the road as long as possible. But part of that strategy also comes in the form of a right to repair, in that we will give you any information you need to keep this vehicle on the road for the long term. So if you break a door switch or a window actuator or need a new pedal or something, we will send you the information on how to replace that part and ship you that part within 24 hours of your need. I think a lot of other companies have really held back from that because they want you to use their proprietary service network, or they want you to order parts only through them, those types of things. But I think we want to be much more open to keep these vehicles on the road long term. We also want the aftermarket to really support this vehicle. We think there's a ton of cool things that you could make and build for this vehicle, for the interior, for accessories, for camping accessories, for your dog kit, for off-roading options, for all these things. And most companies resist working with that kind of aftermarket element, but we are exactly the opposite. If an aftermarket company comes to us and they want to build something cool for our customers, we will give them the CAD data to make that part. We will help them with the research to understand how that part will actually perform in the field. And we want to encourage as many cool features to make people's lives, more comfortable and capable and fun with the Aptera.
There's been some changes to this vehicle's design that have been forced, you've had your hand forced by regulation. And one of them that we are staring right at now, and that's the front light and the front light design. But we've just learned, as this vehicle was revealed, there are some very unique and interesting features that this vehicle has when it comes to lighting, both at the front and also at the rear. So tell us a little bit about the design change at the front end here, the fact that you've now got effectively a Cyclops headlight at the front, but in a very subtle design.
Yeah.
And this light bar around the side that kind of keeps the Aptera's original smile. It's very different to the older Aptera headlight design, but lighting technology has come on in leaps and bounds since then. Talk me through some of the changes and why that change has occurred.
Yeah, LED lighting technology has done wonders, one, for our vehicle efficiency. Now we can use very low power lighting options, whereas old incandescent lights, they burn a lot of power. You can burn 100 watts just with your lighting in a lot of vehicles. So this lighting system is much more efficient, but because we're an autocycle or motorcycle, we fall into a regulatory regime which says we have to have a center light that's no more than 18 inches off center, and that very much so restricts how we light this vehicle. So for cost efficiency and being able to follow the regulations, we came up with a center projector beam that does our high and low beams out of the front of the vehicle, but still melds well with the rest of our lighting features, but all with a key on energy efficiency. Same thing in the rear. We have a reverse light and a light that lights up the charge port and the license plate, all with a single LED that's very, very efficient, and something that we're really proud of, kind of taking the extra step to eke every bit of efficiency out of this vehicle we can.
You've made some changes to the design in terms of body shape for aerodynamic qualities, a slightly longer end to the vehicle. You've made some tweaks here that we've already gone over. Again, just like the headlight, you now have mirrors, which you're hoping won't be on the production vehicle if the rules change. But we've also been told that you've now got fully functioning solar cells charging a fully functional battery that makes this vehicle very drivable, very usable in the real world. Tell me about that process, because getting that curved roof to generate power wasn't easy.
Yeah, our solar facility is 2 miles down the road here. That facility will also produce our sub-assemblies for our final assembly plant that we're standing in here. But the solar team has just made amazing progress in how they're building these panels. You know, our challenges are many. One, that we have a compound curving surface on every surface of the vehicle. Nothing on the Aptera is flat. There's an aerodynamic reason for that. But every solar panel that you've ever seen has been flat. So, you know, people are used to taking monocrystalline cells and putting them in a flat structure and putting glass over the top or something to protect them from the environment. But we have to curve them in 2 directions, and we have to use a cell that's mildly flexible. So instead of a monocrystalline, thick crystal cell, we use a powder crystalline cell, and we have a very unique way of forming that into a panel that's both lightweight, that both has 10-year lifespan, and is curved to the surface of our vehicle. You know, we really pushed them to get these panels done for this vehicle, but it was definitely down to the wire, and it's been really cool to see, you know, 2 days ago they had it outside. It had the hood and the dash and the roof all producing power, charging the battery pack for the first time, and it's, you know, it's just really exciting to see. We've had bench tests, we've had rigs outside, but never has it all been on a single vehicle charging a battery pack that we could actually then go drive around on the power that we created from the sun. So it's an amazing accomplishment and really cool. For the mirrors though, you know, the regulators say we have to have mirrors, and it's an aerodynamic hit that we really don't like. We would much rather use a visual system, which we think is superior in many ways to the usability of a mirror, but we're fighting that regulatory battle. Hopefully people out there will support us in our fight to get rid of these mirrors. But yeah, we would pick up another percent and a half of efficiency just getting rid of the mirrors on this vehicle. So it's interesting how you know, when you get down to something that's so aerodynamic like this, most of the drag from this vehicle actually comes from where the tires touch the road.
Right.
That's where all the dirty air is being created. Everything else is super sleek. The aerodynamic profile of this vehicle, you know, it has less aerodynamic drag than just the side view mirrors on an F-150 pickup truck. When you're driving down the freeway, if you just stick 2 hands out the window, you feel the pressure at highway speeds. That's about the pressure the total Aptera feels. So when you have to add, you know, anything big like this, it's a hit to the chest. But you know, we hope the regulators come around and everything can flow nicely, and we can make the Aptera even more efficient.
So we've now got the latest generation of Elaphe motors. We've got the suspension that we experienced in the beta, which I'm assuming has been tweaked even more for Gamma. And you have a patent out on that at the moment. Mm-hmm. So what else is there from this point onwards? Obviously, turning this into a pre-production vehicle is a very lengthy process.
Yep.
Very costly, and also still making sure that everything is completely signed off and everything is ready for that Delta prototype, which is going to be, to all intents and purposes, what will be coming off the production line.
Yeah, the difference between Gamma and Delta, which is a pre-production vehicle, won't be terribly visually apparent. It's all happening on the back end. We're trying to sign supply agreements for all these parts. So we have a designed part, we release that part to a supplier. Now we have to get, you know, a prototyping sample back from them and make sure it's what we want. And that's what's going to happen over the next 6 months, is working with the supply chain to take this Gamma design and turn it into a fully production contented vehicle, which means we have the part released, we have a supplier for the part, we test a prototype part or something from that supplier, and we sign a supply agreement to get those parts in volume, you know, by next year. So that's really the effort. You'll stand back and have Delta sitting there and Gamma sitting here, and you won't really see a lot of the difference. But the difference will be apparent if you look at our bill of materials and our amount of supply chain contracts and, you know, how we actually get this vehicle into production.
The final thing that I think is worthy of discussing is your charging inlet. Now, you and I have a difference of opinion on that, as I'm sure you're aware. I don't care what the charge inlet is on any car I use, I just want it to work. But you've been really pushing for the US to adopt the Tesla connector as the standard that you want the rest of the US to follow. How is that going? How is that process going? And what can we expect in the future from charging compatibility for Aptera?
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting question. You know, we are a company that's focused on bleeding edge engineering. Everything we want to do with this vehicle is the ultimate in aerodynamics, lightweight, most efficient powertrain, most energy dense battery pack. We feel we're pushing the edge on every bit of engineering in this vehicle. And then we get to the charge port
Yes.
and we go, oh, that's crushing. We do not think that this is the best engineering. What is the best engineering? Could we design a better socket ourselves? Maybe, but we probably wouldn't design something better than Tesla has designed.
And for this vehicle, the Tesla connector is perfect.
It's sleek, it does plenty of power, it plugs in easy, it unplugs easy, it's already the most ubiquitous charger out there. So we think that for us, it's amazing. And we wish that other people would adopt the standard too, in terms of companies. We have almost 40,000 people that have signed our petition for this, and we think it's going swimmingly. It's amazing how many people have lined up to support that. But I don't know where it really goes from here, except that we wanted to come out and say, look, we think that this Tesla charge plug is the best engineering. We want the best engineering in Aptera. We hope that the rest of the world would adopt this standard because we just think it's better. But if it doesn't, there's plenty of adapters for that Tesla charging standard. Teslas can charge at any of the other chargers out there. So if we have a Tesla charge circuit, you would just have to have an adapter to go to any other charger.
I like the fact that it's tucked away behind the license plate. That's the perfect place. It doesn't have any drag. It doesn't create any weird doors or any weird kind of air pockets to disturb the efficiency. And at the end of the day, this is about efficiency more than anything else.
We got into, a packaging study for the different charger options, and we brought in samples for those, and we were all sitting around a table and like, this is the Tesla charge handle. This is the CCS2 charge handle. And, to be honest, it's laughable that, the engineering hasn't progressed this huge monstrosity of a huge cable and huge connector. I'm like, we're trying to fight gasoline vehicles and these big gasoline, handles that you have to use at a fueling station, a gas station, which I haven't been to for years now. But, you look at that CCS2 handle, you're like, how are we evolving? I had hoped for a future by now where, everything was like induction charged, and, we're working with a company on some solutions, here for that because we have such minimal charge needs. But you shouldn't have to plug in your vehicle at all. If you're charging by the sun, you never even need it. And if you do need like a little trickle charge, you have like a 500 watt, inductive charger that you drive over and everybody's happy. So we're trying to progress the engineering. And right now we think the Tesla plug is the superior plug. So we're running after it.
I cannot wait to see these on the road. I cannot wait to try out the pre-production prototype and see what it's like. I am a fan of small, efficient vehicles. I always have been. I know that sounds weird because I currently drive one of the largest most inefficient electric vehicles on the market. The
battery pack in that truck weighs more than the whole Aptera.
Yeah, I can believe that. But, maybe I can't get all of my production.
That's true. I don't know. The boot looks pretty healthy in terms of size.
It's true, but I think everybody else would be, we need to get two. Maybe that's the solution.
There you go. You'd still be using less energy per mile.
It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you again, Chris. I love coming down to Aptera. You guys are so open about everything you're doing, and I just wish the rest of the auto industry would follow suit, because when you are open and honest about what you're doing and about how things work, it makes the whole conversation much easier, and it also means that we all learn something. We all make the world a better place, and at the end of the day, that's what we really need to do.
Yeah, we hope Aptera is an inspiration to the rest of the industry to be more efficient, to be more open, and in that way, help adoption and help the world become a better place. So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you at home for watching. It's been great to be back in Southern California. And thanks for watching at home. I am sorry I'm reading this off my phone so I get everybody's name right. The teleprompter is not here. I'm sorry. My bad. If you liked today's video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with your friends. And don't forget to leave your thoughts below or in our free to join Discord chat room. There are links in the video description. And if you did like today's video, why not leave us a super thanks? It's really easy to do, and it all goes towards helping us make trips like this, fund our hotels, make sure everyone is fed and watered on the journey, and also, of course, paying everyone's salary. If you haven't already, make sure that you have subscribed to this channel and to our second channel, Transport Evolved Take 2, and give that bell a gentle ding to be told when our next video goes live. Thanks on behalf of the entire crew go to everybody who makes this channel possible. That includes everyone who supports us on Patreon and YouTube, as well as those of you who just watch the video and share it, because it really does make a difference, especially when our videos go viral. If you are a supporter at the Charged Up level, you'll see your name right here on my right hand side. And if you just joined, we are sorry if your name is not showing up yet. It will very shortly, I promise. Thanks to our self-driving tier supporters, Chris Maxwell, Pedro Muir Pinheiro, Patrick Boyarski, Bennett Elder, Brian Newton, Dave Kitchen, Michael Goad, Ricky Leon, Andrew Martin, Guido Drahota, Brophy Wolf, Tasla in the Gong, Gordon C, Stephen O'Donoghue, Carl Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Regine Fellows, Dan Blair, Jim Burness, Chris Asentar, Chris and Michael Johnson, Peter Dillinger and Denny Hyde, and of course, super out of this world Starman level support. Thanks to Anonymous Freak, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, Rory Litwin, Joe Bresney, Reed R, JP Fagerback, Russ, Will Graylin, Matthew Drobnak, Kevin Boroughbridge, John Lyons, Andrew Glenn, Paul Conway, Laura Reynolds, and Ian. If you would like to join that amazing list, it's really easy to do. Just follow the links in the description below or hit the join button directly below this video to support the channel on YouTube. You can also send us Bitcoin or Ko-fi, or you can head to our awesome swag store and buy something there. We will be back soon with more awesome content, but until then, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Keep evolving.